Hi, this is Von Pierre with video number 6 for workflow.link application created by Yuri Shortke, and we're working on GRASP project. The GRASP project is basically helping anybody to generate ideas to solve any problem or challenge. If you watch video 1 and 2, you'll see the introduction. What we're going to take a look at is idea generator number 4. It's called challenge assumptions. Let me just go back to show you a little context. So basically we have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Step 1 is define your problem or challenge. Step 2 is generate ideas for your problem or challenge. Now in step 2 we have 6 techniques. We have my version, Von, and Yuri's version. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at technique number 4, challenge assumptions. Let's look at what I did to begin with. Since I'm more of a novice to this program, I want you to see what I did. So let's go in here. So here is my challenge assumptions box. So let's go to my challenge assumptions. And here is the flow that I designed. My flow was, the basic swim lanes, columns. We have the steps on the left-hand side. We have action questions in the middle. We have examples here in the third column. And then we have comments on the right. So if you see, the first step would be state your challenge, which was step number 1. So we're just restating what we did in step number 1. And then we have action questions here. I believe the challenge is, then your challenge. And the example is setting up a restaurant business here. Okay. Then what we did is we just continued the flow going down to step number 2. We're going to map out our assumptions. And then from step number 2, we have more instructions on the flow of what to do. And from there, we go to number 3, challenge the validity of each assumption. And there's 2 parts that I put in here for challenge validity of each assumption, which was questions, set number 1 questions and set number 2. When we go over to Yuri's diagram, we're going to see that this has changed because we cannot have a process to be the end goal. We need always something to continue from a process, which is an end result. So you'll see that change. But this is the third part. So this is number 3, which is challenge validity of each assumption. And number 4 is use assumption reversals. And then once we go through step number 1, 2, and 3, and 4, okay, we have all my questions in place here. We're going to end up with ideas. Now, that was my version. Now let's go and see what changes Yuri did and how he adjusted it. Let's go up. This is rolling up the diagram back to the beginning. Okay, this is Yuri's version, so let's go into his technique number 4. Okay, this is his technique number 4, challenge assumptions. Now he did similar to what I did. He stated the step number 1, same as I did. Okay, he made the diagram wider, which I didn't know how to do, and I learned how to make the diagram wider to give me more space. He eliminated the little picture and just made it a little bit more cleaner, which is, as an example, just put set up a restaurant business. Step number 2 was map out assumptions, and it was similar to me. But the assumptions, instead of having it in text like I do, he made diagrams. And the assumptions was a restaurant must have menu, food, and staff. Okay, and then step number 3 would be to challenge each of these 3 assumptions. Okay, and you ask these questions. So this would be a process from 3. Remember, my number 3 had 2 parts. Step number 1, question step number 2, which was a little messy. His is where you ask the questions to challenge the validity of each assumption, and you just have a diagram challenging each assumption. Do we need to have a menu? cross that out. Do we need to have food? Let's cross that out. And do we need to have staff? Let's cross that out. Let's challenge all those assumptions using diagrams, which is easier on the eye. And then we go from this process, which is step number 3, to step number 4, which is use assumption reversals. That's step number 4. My new ideas. And so what are my new ideas after challenging these assumptions? After we, the X means we're challenging them. The result would be, instead of having a menu, we have buffet style. Instead of having food, we can have wine or food for thought. Instead of having staff, we can have vending machine, self-service counter. So all those are challenging the assumptions of setting up a restaurant. Okay, and after that, we have find out if the reverse assumption is true. We're going to follow the instructions, and the end goal is our ideas for step number 4. So that is how we created a flow using workflow.link for this part, which is challenge assumptions. And again, let's go back to the full context. Challenge assumptions is within step number 2, okay, where we have 6 ideas. And we are right here, challenge assumptions, and then you saw the whole flow inside there. And that will end this video number 6, explaining how I first set up a flow chart for challenge assumptions, and how we looked at Yuri's and we saw his to be a little different, with more diagrams, with a little bit more cleaner in certain areas. If you have any questions, just send me a message. And we can always provide these charts for you if you need to take a further look. So thanks for watching video number 6, and I'll look forward to seeing you on video number 7, as we will explore step number 5, changing point of reference.